This episode has brought to you by Why Do You Think This is going to be sponsored right now? I'm not even that big yet, although I just hit 700 subscribers. I should do something about it. Hello guys, welcome to another talk show. I don't know what to call it. It's just going to chat and discuss. I'm your host, Linkaro, and let me point out right now, there might be some spoiler up ahead, so don't be mad. I just warned you, alright? Today I'm going to be talking about Pokemon, not me particularly, but I have someone here. Before I introduce you to him, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, it's a great game, but obviously there is something that you may or may not agree is wrong with it. I do not know what's wrong with it, but someone does. Please welcome the professor.
Hello, I am Edward Gonzalez, otherwise called the professor by my friend here, Linkaro. So, well, I've been playing Pokemon Sun and Moon for quite a while. Actually, Pokemon Sun, not Moon. Sun is the better version. I'm just kidding, they are pretty much similar. It's a very good game. I enjoyed it. One of the best games on the Pokemon franchise to me. But there are some serious problems with it, which I'm going to point out. And you guys should probably agree with me if you guys are same.
In any case, now you made me lost into. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know me and Dana Toasty were promised that we're gonna have some sort of outline ready, some sort of script. However, the professor here does not want to do this improving because then he could just talk to you without being scripted. So we shall do that.
I hate the scripts.
Okay, so you said you got like what?
I got six
points that's wrong with Pokemon Sun and Moon, and obviously this is improv, so I forgot to mention that I promised this will be as short as possible and not 2 hours long where we get off topic.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be that hard to go over this fast.
Alright.
It's going to go from order of importance.
Alright, so let's go. The most important thing, no, I'm just kidding. Let's go for the least important one. Number one is...
Least important one, and this is mostly a personal problem. You cannot sit on chairs with only two exceptions. Okay. In the previous games, X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I could sit on any chair in the games that I see. Now, I am limited to only two places. A spoiler alert, the champion chair and the chair of Guzma. And maybe there was a third somewhere in the game, but you cannot sit on chairs. I almost canceled my pre-order because of this. But that's the least important problem, okay?
I mean, I mentioned that
yes.
I could sit on the chairs, but unfortunately... In X and Y, when I was able to sit in a chair, I could use it as a shortcut to get to my destination. Where, like, instead of walking around, I just sit in a chair, then move on to the next part.
How?
There's stairs.
Oh yeah,
the chairs
you will move around the chair. Yes, I remember.
Where I could just go from down to chair, then chair to up, and continue on with my destination. I didn't miss that little convenient. All right, let's go to the second one.
All right, second one is more important one. Now, everything that comes after here is a real problem. Like, the first one was kind of a joke, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who was a little bit bothered with that. Anyway, second problem, if you want to change party members in previous games, you will simply press A and then click on the Pokemon and move it to a different spot. In Sun and Moon, you have to press Y first before being able to choose a party member to change to a different spot. Now, that's very inconvenient for players who have been playing this for a long time because we're so used to just pressing A and then pressing A again to change. Now we have an extra step. Press Y first before you can change the position of your Pokemon in your party.
That's a problem?
It is a problem. It's an inconvenience because you're trying to move a Pokemon and you have to press an extra button to go through it.
You do realize you could just use the touchscreen to move the Pokemon
yes,
around. I've been doing that now.
But not everybody uses that.
No, I do it since when it was introduced. I think it was in Black and White when you do that. Or was it just X and Y? Either way.
You could do the stylus. You could do it. But for players that are used to using the buttons, the directionals, now you have to go through a third step. Press Y first, then move the Pokemon in your party from one spot to the next.
Wait. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. That's a problem because nowadays people. I'm pretty sure this is just you, but
no. I checked online. Now, a lot of people have the same problem as I do in GameFAQs. Yeah, check it out. It's an inconvenience. That's why I'm going from order of importance. But it's an inconvenience if you're so used to just pressing A twice. Now you have to go Y, then A again.
Nah,
if you're not doing the stylus.
The stylus is much easier for me. It's very convenient to me. To the point where we could just get rid of the switch option. Just had to just move it with the
just
stylus.
the stylus.
Just the stylus.
I'm glad you don't work for Game Freak.
Yeah.
So you hear this Game Freak? Never hire him, okay? He's terrible.
No, I'm not terrible. I to the point we could do that, but ever since if Pokemon ever goes to the console version, for example, the rumored Pokemon Star, then yes, I do agree with you. Have the Switch to be convenient in the sub menu screen, but if it's gonna be on the handheld, it has a touch screen. So.
But do they really have to force you to go through that? I don't think so. I mean, they're not forcing you, but before it was so much more convenient. Just press A once on a Pokemon you want to change, and then you can just switch places somewhere else. Now you have to press Y first, then A again.
All right, fine. Well,
it's making it longer, the steps.
Fine. Let's see. What's your third reason?
This one, I get why Game Freak does it, and I'm mad at them. No national Pokédex. If you get any Pokemon that's not part of the Alolan Pokédex, it will not have a number. Why? Because according to what I hear, the national Pokédex is going to be added to the Pokébank. They are doing this so they can get more money from players who don't want to use Pokébank. So if you want to see all your Pokemon on the national Dex, you need to buy Pokébank. $5 subscription for a year. But in the game itself, they don't have that option. So there is no national Pokédex for those completionists like me who like to see all the Pokemon available, not just in the game but overall. So if I want to see every single Pokemon, I have to go to a different app from my DS. Do you think that's a problem, Chris, for a completionist?
A complete move for now is easier for even me who doesn't complete their Pokédex to do their.
So you're fine with them taking something that has been part of the tradition of Pokemon since the very beginning?
To have a natural deck, but just right now there's no point in having a natural deck because there's no way to transfer all of your Pokemon from the previous generation into this generation.
But there are about 80 Pokemon you can get that are not in the decks through. Yeah, for example, you can get Totodile, Cyndaquil in the game, and they don't have a number. When you look at your Pokédex, they don't show up.
I do agree that it's kind of stupid that the Pokemon that do show up, even through the QR system, don't have a deck information.
So we are in agreement. It was a stupid deletion to try to put on the Pokébank just to make more money.
But still,
I get it. It makes
some
business sense, but it's a stupid decision.
So but what are you gonna do with a natural deck if, like I said, there's.
What would you do? Look up what Pokemon I have. If I want to transfer some Pokemon to my Sun and Moon and I want to see if I have them on the national decks, that's the best way to check. And I can do that. I have to go to a different place, that Pokebank, if I want to check the national decks once it's updated. So for people who buy Pokemon because they want to complete everything and have all their Pokemon in one game, you don't have that. So I don't know who else will be in agreement with that. Linkaro?
I'm right now trying to count how many Pokemons are not in the Aloha Pokedex, and there's
as you can see, it's a lot. It's about half. About half of them are not in the Alola Dex, and that's not a problem because I could transfer them afterwards. The problem is that I don't have a national Dex to check them out. For those of us who care about the Pokedex.
Because you like to read all those creepypasta, according to some people. Just a little side note. I don't really think at least most of the Dex entry are creepypastas, scarefests. All right, I actually do like the fact that they are kind of like actual animals, all this stuff. I do recall someone being scared or all this stuff because they put on Umbreon's deck entries. Don't know if you read it.
I didn't read it.
Okay, Umbreon's entry is that it blends into the darkness. And then, when the prey gets close, it grabs to the neck and chokes it to its death before feasting on it. Which, with me who actually did see a lot of animal documentary as a kid, it's not really a problem because if you think about it, these animals do need to feed. These animals need to hungry. Like it or not, Pokemon is not or even nature is not all rainbow happiness and you could force animals to become a vegetarian.
The
Like, a lot of
game,
people.
the game also shows you in actual gameplay that this actually happens between Pokemon. If you face Corsolas in the game, and the Corsola does that SOS where they call for help, they can call a Mariani, which is a Pokemon that according to their Pokédex entries, it's Corsolas. Well, in the game, if the Corsola calls Mariani for help, Mariani can attack the Corsola, and they will attack the Corsolas. Why? Because according to their Pokédex entries, they like to eat the Corsola. So instead of getting help, they're getting attacked by the person they call. And that's actually a pretty neat Easter egg. I don't know. Would you call it an Easter egg? Or
No,
would you call it
it's actually a pretty
referring
nice.
to Pokédex?
It's a nice touch. Like,
Yeah, very nice touch.
okay, we're gonna get off topic again, but might as well get this out of the way. I think it's a nice touch, especially on the Pokedex where it says that it likes to leave horns of Corsolas around after they finish feasting on it.
I saved that on my cell phone.
J-Wiz, that's where I found the video, was actually said that that's actually disturbing. Like I said, it's not disturbing. It's what actual animals do. And since I guess Game Freak wants to interpret these Pokemon as actual animals now these days, I'm fine with it. What I'm not fine is with the Gengar thing.
Where you supposedly they will kill you and you have no escape.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But anyways, like, another neat touch is at Route 3, there's a 1% chance of finding a Bagon. And if you find a Bagon, there's also a 1% chance of them calling Salamence.
Level 13 sometimes.
Yeah. Now, if you were to go through the Ocean Cave, you know what cave I'm talking about, right? If you go to the little Soul Patch area, then there's like a 10% chance of finding Bagon instead of a 1% chance. And I think it's a 10% chance of them calling a Shogun. Guess what? Above that cliff is where you find that 1% Bagon.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now, picture this, all right? The Bagon Pokedex entry is that they always dream to fly, right? That's why they like to jump off the cliff so they could achieve their dream of flying.
Mm-hmm.
See where I'm going?
And then you find them at the bottom of the cliff.
Yeah, that's why there are less Bagon on the top of the cliff, and there's a more Bagon on the bottom of the cliff.
Because
and
they'll
that's why,
jump.
that's why there's that's why you could only find not Bagon, it was
Shoguns?
Shoguns on the bottom of the cliff, and where you could find Salamence in the top.
Because they went up again.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So those nice details actually helps, especially I think one of Edward's favorite SOS Easter egg, if you want to call it, is that Cubone can call out a Kangaskhan.
Oh yeah, so Cubone is the child of Kangaskhan, confirmed by the way by Game Freak. It's confirmed, guys. Cubone calls Kangaskhan. They're related somehow, right? And yeah, screw you if you don't agree with me here, because Game Freak is showing you that Cubone and Kangaskhan have a connection. Now let me take my tinfoil hat before we continue with this.
All right. Okay, I think if we're going to discuss about the Pokedex entry, you could probably do it later on or in another video, but let's go on with it. We talk about the third.
Yeah, so the third was the no-national dex. So apparently for Linkaro, that's not a big problem. I think it's a big problem because it breaks a huge tradition of the game.
The only big problem I have is that I won't be able to read right now until...
And then you have to read on your Pokemon.
Yeah, but think about this. Gen 6 also had that problem. They did have a national Pokedex, but no way to transfer all your old Pokemons into the new ones until they did the whole Pokebank update or introduce Pokemon Bank.
You could actually. You had this other source that you had to use for Gen 5 to transfer to Gen 6 that came out before Pokebank. Remember, like a different transfer?
No, I usually just go for the official ones.
Yeah?
I don't go for third parties.
No, it wasn't a third party. It was part of Nintendo. Well, anyway, but even then, the national Dex was still available. So you could at some point transfer them and the national Dex will fill up the spot. So even if you couldn't obtain all the Pokemon in the game, which is typical of a new generation, the national Pokédex entry is still there for you to open up once you manage to get the transfer going at some point in the game. For example, third generation Ruby and Sapphire, there were many Pokemon that you couldn't get legitimately on the game, like Charmander, for example. And you had to wait until Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Or Colosseum.
Yeah, but if you manage to transfer from Fire Red and Leaf Green to Ruby and Sapphire, they will get their national Pokédex entry. Because there is such a thing as a national Pokédex. There was.
Because I'm trying to remember. I do remember that I tried to transfer all of my Pokemon from Pokemon Colosseum to my Ruby game, and there was no hint of the natural Pokédex for some reason. They said, I know the official statement was if you transfer an old Pokemon to the Ruby games, then you should automatically get the natural Pokédex. But that didn't happen to me. They didn't have no number. That's not until that's even post game.
Then no, you're remembering wrong. Because
no, I remember right. It's not until like I got Fire Red or Leaf Green. I guess there was some update between the games that let them get the natural decks, but not me. I
think you're remembering something wrong. They did not do updates in Ruby and Sapphire at that time.
No, I don't know. No, yeah. I remember right. I didn't. There was no number. Anyways, let's get on to the next number before we talk all topic. Unless you still want to put
yes.
One
now
more
all
thing.
the next three are about gameplay. Gameplay itself.
The gameplay.
No, yes.
Let's go.
Gameplay. Number 4. This is an important one. No super training available. So for those who don't know, in Pokemon Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, X and Y, you had that choice of super training them, which was pretty much like a little side game of balloon popping with your Pokemon. And if you did that, you will increase their EVs, which are stats. They're I forgot what the actual term is, but we call them EVs.
Super training.
Yeah, super training. We would do super training to increase their stats in where we wanted them to go to. And that was really neat. It was slow. Not many. Some people didn't like to use it too much because there were faster ways, like the horde battles where you will fight 5 Pokemon at once. But it was a nice little mechanic that you could use if you wanted to improve your Pokemons at the very beginning of the game. Well, in Sun and Moon, that's gone. It's not there. It's out. So no more super training. And that really slows down things because you want to have a very good Pokemon, a competitive Pokemon at the get-go, and you can't train it properly because you don't have the super training mechanic anymore. And I think taking that out from the Gen 7 when you had it in X and Y and Omega and ORAS, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, was a huge mistake. I don't know what Linkaro thinks about this.
Well, I am gonna have to. Well, yeah, I do miss the super training, but I think the whole Poke Palladium, or whatever you call it, is a little more convenient. I know it might be a little bit more time consuming, even if you do have the beans or the rainbow beans, but you could train 6 Pokemon at a time on whatever stats you want to do.
Or 18 if you open
I mean in 3 group each.
Okay.
So I like the convenience of having like these 6 Pokemon works on their attack. These 6 Pokemon works on their speed. This 6 Pokemon works on their HP.
But why not both? Why not super training and the Poképelago?
Yeah, here's the thing. If you do that, it's kind of like overbroken, in my opinion.
I don't think so. It makes things faster for people who are going to play competitive.
Yeah, true, but there is such thing as too much good stuff.
No, there really isn't. You're wrong with that. You're wrong with that.
There is.
No such a thing as too much good stuff.
And who knows? People might take advantage of it for somehow reason, and they could. Who knows? Probably the game wouldn't work, or there might be some sort of hackable way, something hackable. Or I'm not making sense.
No, you're not, because you're wrong. There's no such a thing as too much good stuff. Not in this case. You could have super training, which can be fast. Plus the Poképelago, where they will train by themselves, which will take time. About half a day if you use those beans to speed things up. Now, can we go to number 5?
Yes.
Okay, number 5. No O powers. So XY, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, we had O powers, which will make hatching X much faster, increasing getting money better. It will cut prices on the stores. You will use it to gain more experience. This was really good if you wanted to train Pokemon, or if you wanted to buy things for at half the price in the stores, or if you wanted to breed, which competitive players are going to do a lot of. So without that option, things are expensive generally. We don't get to level up quickly, which is a huge problem in this game, which is a different problem altogether. I'm not mentioning it now while I'm at it. when a Pokemon's experience points in this game are going to, how much it gains will depend on the level of the opponent. So the higher the level of your Pokemon than the opponent, the less experience points you'll be getting. So getting to level 100 is a hassle, it's a grind, a huge grind. And without the O power, where you could say I want level 3 O power to increase how much experience points I get from a fight. Without this option, getting to level 100 is going to take days, probably, unless you play it for several hours in one day. Just to get to level 100, so you can do that hyper training thing that's added to the game. I've been playing this for a few weeks now, and I still haven't done any hyper training because my Pokemon is at the maximum is level 80 so far, because they're not getting too much experience. And without all power, I can't speed things up. So why show me hyper training that can only be done on Pokemon that are level 100 if I can get to level 100 quickly? Most people are not going to get to that level. What do you think, Linkaro?
I'm also going to use old power to hatch eggs and all this stuff, but I think it's just because I'm not too competitively. You're the one who's competitive about this, Professor. But I'm hard to use old power myself.
It was really good. If you wanted to get more money, I believe you could use it. Or was it just cutting money? Definitely for cutting prices. So you will cut the prices of all items in half. I know that in Sun and Moon there is a thrifty store, but they only have basic items. So if I wanted to buy a quick ball, for example, for half the price, I will not be able to do it. I have to always buy it at full price. With all power, I could cut that in half. The experience points was the most important one, especially in a game like this where how much experience points your Pokemon gain is relative to the level of the opponent. And I think that's a huge
Actually,
problem.
yeah, take that back. I actually do miss the old power.
Yeah.
But I do wish like the old power was buff up, not like 3 minutes and all stuff, because 3 minutes is about how much I take to defeat one trainer on a full 5 versus 6 match.
Which leads me to another problem. There's no easy way to get to level 100.
This is number 6?
Numbers is not in my list, but now it's number 6.
Okay,
There is no
so you
easy
have
way.
7. He has 7
I have
problems
7
now.
Now, so there's no quick way to level up your Pokemon.
That's one thing I had trouble with Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Unless if I'm losing my mind, there was no way, no easy way.
There
X and
was.
Y, really?
In Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, there was. You had this option with bases where you could download the bases of other trainers. So many competitive players, they will download at the Chansey bases, where basically actually Blissey. So you will download 6 Blissey bases, and you will fight and every trainer inside will have level 100 Blisseys that you could beat up, and they will not be able to attack you, and you will get a ton of experience in these bases.
Or do you mean the Audino?
Audino is no. These were Blissey bases.
Blisseys?
Blisseys.
I
Yeah, you will
thought
download it.
I thought Audino is the one that gives you a lot of experience.
Blissey as well.
Blissey?
Yeah. So you basically this is what you will do. You will get there was this certain island, like one of the hidden islands, and you will get 6 trainers there that you will download online. That you have to go online and
still
do the
online?
SQ. It's still there. You will do it through scanning. You will scan the trainers and then you will put them in the game. And then if you had the machine to change the levels to 100, all the Blisseys will change from level 50 to 100. So you will get at least 4 to 6 of those guys. Every single one of them has 3 Blisseys. Change it so their levels go to 100. Use the O power to increase experience points at the maximum level, and you could get to level 100 quickly, real fast.
Really? I just
You never
always
figured it out?
no. I always depend on X and Y to do my grinding. I just go to that little Pokemon house, Pokemon Mansion thing.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't just have to buy the red golden, the little mansion thing with Jiggy. I always buy the expensive one, get Omni Coin, get who I want to train, and just grind away.
Huh,
I was able to grind level 100 Greninja and Infernape quickly.
Weird. I thought you knew about this. A lot of people do.
I did not. I just.
Well, you should give it a try if you decide to go back to Omega Ruby.
Oh, I need to go back. I need to get my Milieta.
So in these games, there's no way to speed up your leveling to 100. So hyper training, it's It sounds like a cool mechanic, but I personally haven't been able to try it out yet. And I think a lot of casual players will not get to that point because they're not going to play a Pokemon until it's level 100. Not at the pace this Pokemon level up. So very few people are going to be using this mechanic. Probably on legendaries, and that's only going to be a very, very few. So that's a sixth problem. No easy way to speed up your leveling.
All right, now let's listen to this seventh problem that used to be 6.
Yes, this is the most important one, the worst problem that can harm the game a bit. That Festival Plaza replacing the player search system. In the 6th generation, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, X and Y, in the bottom screen you had the PSS. So the player search system. Any player showed up there, I could click on them and we will start a fight. 6 players or start a trade. It was an easy way to trade legendaries with people, the mythical Pokemon, because you couldn't trade them through the DGTS. In the Festival Plaza, it's really hard to find people that you could fight because it's always changing and you don't know who's online and who's not. And so it's really not that simple. You will rarely get challenges from random people in there. And starting a trade with a random person online is much, much more difficult and not as user-friendly as the PSS. The player search system was smooth. You know, it was smooth. I could see all the faces of all the people that were online and I could click on any of them for a trade or fight and then decide the rules. On the Festival Plaza, I have to run around the place and talk to the individual characters. Unless I go inside the mansion, I have them registered and I don't know if they're going to be online. So it was much easier for people to find other people on the PSS system than it is on the Festival Plaza. At least that has been my experience with it.
The only time I used Festival Plaza was to battle against you and to trade, so I have not faced against anybody yet, so you're more experienced about this than I am.
And that's a bit irksome. Before, if I wanted to trade with someone, I would just go through the PSS, the player search system, and click battle trade. Now I have to enter Festival Plaza first, and then I have to click on one of those two options. So there's these extra steps that are really unnecessary.
Well, I did. They want to promote more of the Pokemon Festival, so that's probably why they put everything into it. It became a long way, and then it became a little step back because remember when the whole GTS was introduced and all stuff, you had to go to this big building in Hawthorne City, or I forgot the name of that city, or Goldenrod City, just so you could trade, battling online.
Yeah, I'm glad that's
I forgot what was it, and then all of a sudden, the 5th gen, it was just on the 2nd floor of the Pokemon Center till last gen, where you could just instantly access through the touchscreen, and well, it's still accessible. Just you have to go through a festival first.
Yeah, so these are my gripes. 7 points overall. 1, that's a joke one, can sit on chairs. 2, you have to press Y first before being able to change your party members in the menu. 3rd, no national Pokédex, which really is irksome for people like me who like to fill up the national decks. I don't know how many of you guys are like that, the completionist types. 4, no super training. There is Poképelago, takes its place, of course, like Linkaro said, but it can be time consuming if you want to play the game fast. 5th, no O-powers, which can be a problem for several things with egg hatching, or cutting the price by half, or leveling, or getting more experience points. The 6th, then there's no easy way to gain experience points, so reaching level 100 is a huge grind, which is really hard, the hyper training mechanic they try to push. Not many people will use that, especially most people who are casual, who will play for the game for a certain amount of time. They will not get to experience this part of the game because they're not going to be spending so much time trying to get to level 100 just for that. They simply will not. There's many other games they can play apart from Pokemon once they get bored of the game. And the worst thing of all, the PSS is gone and is replaced by the Festival Plaza, which can be fun at times, but it's much more harder to find players to have a 6 vs 6 fight or trade Pokemon with, because in the GTS you cannot trade Mythicals, and that's the points I have against the game. But other than that, notice that I don't criticize the story. I personally like the story. I mean, for a Pokemon game it was decent. The graphics are amazing. I would just wish they had a bit more 3D on it. The Pokemon, I like the Pokemon, the designs. They might not be as competitive viable as past games. I've noticed a lot of people saying that they tend to be slower than past generations, and I think that might be the case. But I like them. I like the new Pokemon. And I like the C moves. I think it's funny. I do wish you could skip so the dances at times because it can make things longer, but it's just a minor gripe. But overall, I'm happy with the game. I'm going to be playing it for a long time, most likely, and it's going to be my main Pokemon game from now on, as I'm sure many of you will continue playing it.
Until the re-release of Diamond Pearl Platinum comes out later this gen.
Well, yeah, everybody's expecting that to be released.
Let's see. When did Pokemon Diamond Pearl and Platinum come out?
I cannot remember.
Alright, let me check, because the whole Ruby Sapphire thingamajiggy was because because it was like the 10th anniversary of the like the 10th anniversary. It came out 2006.
2006? That's
So
how old
we
it
were-
was?
Yeah, the original Diamond Pearl.
Oh, wow.
So we already skipped the whole
Wow, that was a long time.
10 generation 10
10 years,
anniversary.
yeah. That's a long time. Yeah, it's about time for that to be remade. And well, that's all the points I had on the problems with the game. To me, are problems. Linkaro seems to be fine with many of these things, but he's Linkaro. What can you expect?
Screw you. God damn it. Hold on. I'm just trying to check out the year. When did Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out?
That came out in 2013, maybe.
That was 11 years between that and Ruby Sapphire. Let me get this checked out. Because I thought Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was supposed to be like the 10th anniversary of the game. Or unless I'm just
No.
confusing it with Ruby.
You're confusing it with something else.
Yes.
It couldn't have been
2014. That was like.
Oh, 2014? I think it was older
2014.
by 1 year. Okay. Yeah, not too long. 2 years. 2 year wait before Sun and Moon then.
Yeah. Well, in any case, that's all we got, and I guess we're still under 30 minutes.
Oh, that was only 30 minutes?
That's around 30 minutes. 32 minutes.
Alright, cool.
Without the whole editing and such. So, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Any last words?
If you agree with me, mention it in the comment section. If you think that Linkaro is full of crap, also mention it, please. And dislike the video if you disagree with him. And if you agree with me, like it.
That does not make sense!
It makes sense if you think about it.
You screw this. I'm calling it. I'm closing this show. Anyways, thank you for joining. This has been Professor, and I am Linkaro signing off. Good night, people.
Laters.